Erin Hostel of Rhinebeck School of Music. I'm at my studio today at work, had a little break. So I'm going to talk in this video about some other ideas on how to memorize the notes on the fretboard. Seems to be a big topic that people want to know about. Rhythm and fretboard memorization. So I did do one video on fretboard memorization that you can find here on Patreon. And I talk more about going through the circle of fourths to find your notes on the E string and the A string. But if you're someone who is a little more intermediate and you're already playing bar chords, you probably already know the notes on the E and the A, probably this E. And it's all of the other strings that are probably just like kind of a mystery at this point. So I'm going to go through some ways that really helped me out. So number one, there's a lot of notes that repeat within the same octave on the guitar, which doesn't happen on the piano. On the piano, you're either going up higher or down lower. Nothing repeats in the same octave. But on the guitar, you have all these places where, you know, if you play one note, you can repeat it in other places on the fretboard, which is kind of a strange thing to get used to. So the first thing is to take your open E. The next note on the first fret here would be F. This would be F sharp, so I'm going to skip that. I'm going to go to G. So I'm just playing E, F, G on the first string. Those notes repeat on the second string here. 5th fret, 6th fret, 8th fret, E, F, G. They repeat again here on the G string, the 3rd string, 9th, 10th, and 12th. And they repeat again here on the 4th string, the D string, 14, 15, and 17. All right, so now you've got 4 places on the neck where you can play the exact same notes, E, F, G, E, F, G, E, F, G. And you can practice that. I'm going to go to the 2nd string. When it's open, it's B, and then I have C on the 1st, D on the 3rd. Those notes repeat here on the 3rd string, 4th fret, 5th fret, 7th. Here on the 4th string, the D string, 9, 10, 12, and then here on the A string, 14, 15, 17. So I have B, C, D, B, C, D, B, C, D, B, C, D. So now I have B, C, D, E, F, G, B, C, D, E, F, G, B, C, D, E, F, G, B, C, D, E, F, G. And you could keep going, like this is your G string, you have G to A, and then G to A on the 5th and the 7th of the D string, G to A, G to A, and then you have G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Right? So it's just a start to kind of just find the same notes across the fretboard. And you don't want to overwhelm yourself, so if you just want to just start with just these 3 notes and spend weeks just trying to like figure out where those are, you know, and then gradually adding the B string, gradually adding the G string to that, then that it's really helpful, I think, to do that. Okay, number 2 is to, you know, find your octaves. So an octave on the guitar, like if you're starting on the top string, like if this is my G, I go 2 frets over and 2 strings down. I'm skipping a string, right? So I have the 3rd fret to the 5th fret. Those are octaves, right? So that means if you know your notes on the E string, if you know that's an A, to find your next A, you just go an octave. You just go that same distance, 2 frets over, 2 strings down, and there's your other A, right? And then if you want to find your next A, between the D string and the B string, it's a little bit of a different distance. You have to go 3 frets over and 2 strings down, right? And then you've got like, you can find all of these by octave. So if you know your notes on the E string and the A string, find where the next note is an octave higher and then an octave higher still. So I have a little worksheet on that attached to this video to help you find your octaves on the E string, from the A string, and then from the D string, and then from the G string. So a lot of my students, they do find their notes that way. They'll be like, gee, I don't know what note that is. And then they'll be like, okay, where's the octave? There it is. It's a C. I know that's a C, so this is also a C. You know, or they'll be here. I'm like, I don't know what that is. Well, they'll just go an octave here below, and they'll be like, oh, that's an E, so that's an E, right? So it's just kind of like, you know, you can use it backwards too. You don't always have to use it forward, starting here, the lower note, and going to the higher. You can start on the higher note and find the lower octave there. All right, so number 3 would be to say the notes. If you know scales, if you're someone who's practicing scales, say the notes that you're playing within the scale. And this is going to be important for a couple of reasons. One is it's going to help you learn your fretboard, but also part of the key to not being a noodler when you improvise or solo is to know the notes of your chord, and to know when you're playing over a chord where the notes in the scale correspond to the chord. So you're matching, like, you know, the harmony, the chords, with the melody notes that you're playing within your scale. Like, for example, if you're playing over an E minor chord and you're playing an E minor pentatonic, an E minor chord has the notes E, G, and B. E, G, B, E, G. So if you know where those notes are, it makes it easier to land on a note within the chord that resolves properly and sounds good. It sounds like you're actually connecting your melodies and your scale to the harmony that you're playing over. So the example I give is just playing a basic E minor pentatonic scale, right? Which is just E, G, A, B, D, E, G, A, B, D, E, G, and then back. So whatever scale you play, like say you're playing an A pentatonic scale, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C. Just say the notes as you play them. Here's my G pentatonic: G, B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat. Saying the notes as you play them just helps you tie in, but it's also part of that fretboard memorization. So you're not just learning patterns, because so many guitar players, and I say this over and over again in like every video I make, guitar players, they learn patterns. When they learn their scales, they just learn patterns. They don't learn what notes, most of them anyway. If they have a really good teacher and they're a really good student, they'll actually learn the notes from the scale, not just the patterns, right? Because otherwise, you're not really going to know what to do with those patterns in the future as things get a little more difficult. So another thing I found helpful for fretboard memorization is just getting a basic book, like, you know, like a Hal Leonard book or a Mel Bay book. Then they start you off with your first string, E, F, and G, and you play a million exercises just playing E, F, and G, and then they switch you over to B, C, D, and you learn a million exercises playing B, C, D, and then G to A, and it's this very methodical approach where you learn all of your notes kind of in this first position, from the open string probably to this 5th fret here. You'll know like everything in your open position, and then it's easy to kind of like, you know, translate from there, like where you're going and what notes are higher. But not everybody wants to learn how to read music, and I get that. But I feel it's an important skill because it's all part of the language, and it just makes you a stronger musician overall. All right, and then I'm gonna just briefly mention this last tip because I did a whole other in-depth video on it, which you can find here on Patreon, called Fretboard Memorization, where I talk about the circle of fourths. So I'll post that diagram. So basically, when you move the diagram from, you know, if you're moving counterclockwise, you're moving in what are called intervals of a fourth. So if I'm on C, C, D, E, F is 4 notes, 4 letters away from the root. If I start on F, I go F, G, A, B flat is a 4th away, etc. So those are intervals of a 4th. So Bead Gukuf is kind of like the shortcut that I use for memorizing the order of fourths, B, E, A, D, G, C, F. It's kind of a shortcut. So if I start on B, my E is here because the guitar is tuned in fourths, right? So whatever note you're on, a fourth away is just the next string. So B to E, then I'm going to start on A and go to D, and then I'm going to start on G and go to C, F to B flat. This is also B flat here, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and then I'm back to B. And then I've played through every note possible in music, right? That's kind of the way people practice their scales. That's the way that people practice learning how to play things in every key. So using the circle of fourths diagram, you can easily learn these two strings. All right, I hope that was helpful. If you haven't already, visit www.rhinebeckschoolofmusic.com and subscribe. Become a patron, patreon.com/Rhinebeck School of Music. I'll see you at the next one.